These are problems from a handout called Quilted Quotients, and the concept here is that we're going to have zeros in the quotient. So let's talk real quick about what the quotient is. The quotient is the number that we get when we do a division problem. So our quotient is going to be the number up top in the problem that we go ahead and solve. This number here, the 31, that's called our divisor. And then we have what we call the dividend, is the number that's underneath this bar that we use for dividing. So this is called our dividend. So those are the different parts to a division problem. Now we're going to go ahead and try solving it. And so when we divide these numbers, I'm going to look at 31 into 2. Well, 31 doesn't go into 2, so I got to go to the next number. Now 31 into 21. Well, it doesn't go there either. So then we have to go all the way over to the 7, and we're thinking of 31 into 217. So the way I like to do it is I like to cover up two numbers and then try to make the division a little easier. So I'm going to cover up this 3, or this 1, and this 7, and try doing 3 into 21. And then from there, that'll give me a number to start with. And so I see that 3 goes into 21 7 times. So I'm going to try a 7. And I put that number right above the 7 because I'm doing 31 into 217. So I do the division or multiplication here now. 7 times by 1 makes 7. And 7 times by 3 makes 21. And then I go ahead and do some subtraction. And everything cancels out. So I'm left with 0. Well, I've got to bring the 6 down, and I still have another number that needs to go in the quotient. And so we're doing 31 now into 6. Well, 31 does not go into 6. And so it goes in 0 times. And so that makes 0. 31 times 0 makes 0. And what we have left is a remainder of 6. Now in this problem, there is a bunch of answers down at the bottom that make like a quilt, and you're looking for the one that says 70 R 6. So remainder 6. Now there's another way we can end up writing this answer. We could go ahead and continue further and change it to a decimal. Now the decimal would go right where the R is, and then the problem would continue. Or you could end up writing the answer this way: 70 and 6 31st. So we could write it as a mixed number. And basically all a mixed number is, it's the whole number, 70, plus the fraction. And the fraction is 6 31st. So it's whatever number the divisor is, that goes in the place for the divisor. The numerator is the remainder. And so this is the answer that you're looking for on this sheet. Well, let's take a look at this other one, 38 into $153.14. So again, we're looking at 38 going into the first digit. Well, it doesn't go into 1, so then we go to the next two. Does 38 go into 15? No, it doesn't. So that means we need to go to the next three numbers. 153, 38 into that number. And so when I do it, I try to think of numbers. I cross out this 8 here, and I'll cross out this 3, and think of 3 into 15. How many times does 3 go into 15? Well, 5 times, but that's evenly. So this number is a little bit bigger than 3, or it's 38, bigger than 30. So I'm going to end up trying 4 times, because 5 times 8 is going to give me 40, and then I'd have to carry. So that's going to be too big. So I'm going to do 3 and put a 4 right above that 3. And so we'll go ahead and take out some of those marks, and I'm going to put the 4 right here. This is going to be the number I'm trying. So again, we crossed off the 8 and the 3. 3 goes into 15 5 times, but we figured that might be a little bit too much. We're going to use the number below 5, which is 4. So we go ahead and do that work. We got 4 times 8 makes 32, and then a 4 times 3 makes 12, plus the 3 makes 15. So that number is very close, 152. So we do the subtraction, and we have a 1 left over. We need to bring down this 1. Now, real quick, see that decimal point. We need to move that decimal point straight up into the quotient. And now we need a number that goes right above the 1. 38, how many times does 38 go into 11? Well, it doesn't. So that means we need to add a 0. See, This is why this is called zeros in a quotient, because we have zeros here. So what we do next is 38 times 0 makes 0. We subtract, and I get 11 left over. Well, we have to bring down this 4. And now we have to do 38 into 114. So I do the same method. So what I'm doing is I cross off this 8, cross off this 4, and think of how many times does 3 go into 11? And that's what I'm thinking about. This just gives me a place to start to try to figure out what goes in this quotient. Well, 3 times 3 makes 9, and that's pretty close to 11. So let's try that number. So I'm going to go ahead and try a 3 here. And so off to the side, I need to multiply that 3 times 38. Well, 3 times 8, so let's go ahead and do that. 38 times by 3. This makes 24. This is 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 makes 11. Oh, that makes the exact number we needed, 114. So it ended up working out. So there's our answer, $4.03. So look for the answer that says 4.03. And that is the quotient that we're looking for. Well, one last problem here, 77 into $592.90. So same sort of thing. When I do this, 77 does not go into 5. It doesn't go into 59, but it does go into 592. So what I'm going to do is, to figure out what number to put there, I'm going to cross off the 7. I'm going to cross off this 2 and think of 7 into 59. So when I go ahead and do that, I will think of, okay, 7 times 7 makes 49, but 7 times 8 makes 56. But if I used this number, 8, it is smaller than 59, but there's going to be 5 that I have to add afterwards when I multiply the 8 by this extra 7 in the tens place. So that might be too big, so I'm going to go with this 7 right here. So I'm going to put a 7 right above that 2. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll start by putting that 7 right above this 2, and then multiply. I get 49, so I'll carry a 4 there. So 77 times 7 is what I'm doing right now. So I get 49, and 7 times 7 is 49 again, plus 4 makes 53. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to use that number. So we get 53 right here, and we do some subtraction. So we end up having to borrow a little bit. So be real careful here when you do that borrowing. Got to borrow from this 9, change it to an 8. And so this is going to become 12. So it's 8 minus 3, which ends up giving us 5. And then over here, 12 minus 9 gives me 3. And then I bring down this 9. Oh, 539, the same number I had here. So that means I'm going to have a 7 above this 9. But before we get excited and put that in there, we have a decimal point here. We need to make sure we bring that decimal point up, or else we're going to end up making an error. We'll get 77 or 770 or something to that effect instead of the right answer. So we need to put a 7 right here, right above this 9, and then we multiply. We already know it makes 539. And then we do that subtraction. We get 0 left over. Oh, well, I bring down this 0, and that's just 0. So how many times does 77 go into 0? 0 times. You see, 0 times 77 makes 0. And when you subtract, you get 0, so we've got our answer. So no remainder in this problem. $7.70. So look for the one that says 7.70, and that would be your answer. So that is solving some division problems with zeros in the quotient.